Okay, good evening, everybody. I hope you guys had an amazing Monday, and hope it's still going amazing. I'm back for my resume review session. This is the only time where I will review your resume for free. Normally, I charge $50 for a private resume review, but once a week, I run a LinkedIn Live segment where I will review your resume for free. Now, if you want to get your resume reviewed, all you have to do is hop on this LinkedIn Live. Actually, not on the LinkedIn. You have to actually hop on into the studio. I provided instructions. Um, and so, once again, here is the link to get your resume review. I've dropped the link. Hop on. You have to have your resume ready to share. Earlier today, I covered a training for free on LinkedIn Live where I covered the 5 types of hiring managers and recruiters you need to impress in order to land interviews. Okay. So let's begin. Also, let me know in the comment section. Let's introduce ourselves. My name is Gurpreet Korman. I am an HR expert with 20 years of experience. And by night, I'm a career coach who is an expert in career growth. I help people land jobs 200 and 500K within the 90 days or less. I've helped in job searching, building a successful career where you become a top paid earner in your field. Those are my expertise. I started off my journey by providing resume reviews. I still do that as a service. I do run a paid service agency, service providing and coaching that helps career professionals just like you win their job search, land high paying salary jobs in short period of time. Okay, so in the comment section, let me know who you are, where are you tuning in, and how is your job search going? What do you feel? Let's open the conversation and dialogues. What do you really feel about your resume? Okay, I've also dropped the link to hop on in the studio to get your resume review with me. Click on that link and come on into the studio. And I openly invite you to join me inside the studio if you want to get your resume reviewed. Also, please don't be shy to hit those like buttons, hit those comment section, and spread the word. If you know somebody who's struggling in landing interviews, share this link, send it to your friends, share with your network, tell them to come in the session. Everybody who I have reviewed resumes have always found it really helpful to get an expert's opinion on their resume and be able to help them improve their resume so they can start landing interviews. So go spread the word out into your communities, to your friends, and hop on and get a resume review. We are also live from YouTube as well. Okay, so tell me in the comment section. Takdir singular. Hello, Gurpreet. How are you? You can check my resume related to civil engineering field. Yes, I can. I've dropped the link in the comment section. Please feel free to hop on to get your resume review. I've dropped the link. I'm happy to review anyone's resume complimentary, free of charge. I know tons of people are struggling to land interviews. This is why I'm doing my segment. But hop on to, I will personally review the resume. It will be here, right here, live. You do have to be comfortable to have your resume publicly reviewed by me on this live session. And this way, it's also helps so many people see other people's mistakes and learn from it. So I'm making this a learning experience for everybody. Even if I don't review your resume, it is first come, first serve to get your resume review. Okay. Hi, Chantel.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I want to share my resume with you.
Sure.
So I was reading it, but I'm not sure now. Like, how am I supposed to do that again?
Um, did you come from my email list? Did you get an email about this?
No, I didn't. I just saw your through LinkedIn.
Okay, so let me drop the link. Here's the link to share instructions on how to share. It's really easy. Once you have your resume open, there's a button called present. Click on that, and then
Mhm.
then it says share screen, and you'll be able to share your screen.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's kind of like
Mhm.
Zoom. Um, yeah, but I dropped the link in the private chat too, so you can easily click on that.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, Sarah, what
Mhm.
is your opinion about having single page resumes, especially for those who have over decade or two experience? Is it really necessary to have one page resume? No. Honestly speaking, here's my opinion. I'll just wait until Chantel has her resume ready to share. Okay, so this is a great question, great conversation to have. There's tons of buzz on one-page resumes, and here's my professional opinion. Someone who has 20 years of experience. There's a video I did today on this, the 5 types of recruiters and hiring managers you need to impress. So I do cover this and that. But I want to say this one thing. To me personally, I just find that one page resume has become a trend. It's like the buzz trend word, and it's like everybody's telling people to do one page resume, but they can't explain why, or let alone teach you how to write a resume, one page resume that will land you interviews. In my entire 20 years in HR, I've never had any hiring manager, even today, tell me they want a one page resume, because that's not on someone's mind. That's not even the most important piece. What's really important is that you have relevant information that demonstrates that you can get the hiring manager the results they're seeking, solve their problems, remove their headaches, and bottom line, hit the company's KPIs. That's what really matters. And honestly speaking, if you have 2 decades of experience, how are you supposed to put that into one page resume? I've seen people shrink their font size to like 8, 9, and then cramp everything into it's just everything is cramped up. It's not easy to read, it's not easy to navigate. Do yourself a favor, and don't get on this bandwagon of one page resume. You're really going to be losing out. So don't do a one page resume. I don't recommend one page. I Everybody's resumes that I reviewed that were one page resume, they can't even land interviews. So I've been reviewing resumes, let's call it since last year. I've done so many resume review sessions, and I can tell you, every single person whose resume was one page, they weren't even landing a single interview. So let data speak for itself. I've seen tons of people struggling with one page resumes and can't land interviews. The minute they convert into 2 pages, they started landing interviews. So my opinion is this is just a buzzword. It's just people using, I hate to say this, but honestly, it just feels like people are just using this one page as a buzzword to get more views on the content, where there's really no substance behind it. If someone can teach you how to write a one page resume and land interviews, by all means, go for it. But as somebody who can't even land interviews with a single simple resume, I wouldn't even recommend you writing a one page resume. Please don't write a one page. Okay, so Chantel, you're having some difficulty. Chantel? Oh, okay, she's not there. Okay, so Takdir, you have it says your device is not connected, so I won't be able to, until you're able to connect your device, I won't be able to review your resume. Okay, next question. If someone have 3 to 4 years experience and want to switch for career growth, do you still recommend more than one page resume? Yes, I do. I recommend 2-page resumes for junior level to entry level, and anybody above that. Yeah, I will never recommend anyone writing 1-page resume, not even students. When I graduated from university, my resume was 2 pages and I had zero experience other than 1 year under my belt. And my resume was still 2 pages. So I will not recommend anybody writing a 1-page resume. So guys, by the way, if you want to have your resume reviewed by me, hop on this call, come to the studio, and I will be happy to review your resume. Love the questions, have them coming. And I will be answering everyone's questions. But if you want a resume review, hop on in the studio with me, okay? Here's the link to join. I've dropped the link in the comment section. Feel free to join the segment you have to hop on the studio to get your resume review. Okay. Takdir, your device is not connected, so I can't speak to you. Okay, next question. When is Canadian economy expected to improve? I mean, the job market. It seems everyone is struggling. Thanks. Okay, so here's the truth about job market. I don't understand. I have a question back to everybody. I have tons of people telling me that they've applied to thousands of jobs. I just had somebody tell me this today that they applied to thousands of jobs. And they were saying the job market is back. And I replied back to that message today on the DMs, and I said, well, how can the job market be so bad if you've already applied to thousands of jobs? So Rajiv, I would love to know, why do you feel the job market is bad? People are struggling. Here's my 2 cents on this. The reason people are struggling in their job search is simply because of the volume of competition. Number 2 thing is, when you're applying to jobs online, and especially when we're in the employer's market, you have to understand the market you're playing in, right? When it's employer's market, it means there's tons of candidates available for job opportunities. So you are now, when you apply to jobs, you are dealing with competition, right? So the chances of you landing interviews, I have some stats and data on this. The chances of you landing interviews are less than 3%. So you have to be within the 3% person that lands interviews. So that's the game here you're playing, right? The problem is, the reason a lot of people are struggling in their job search today is they don't know how to play the game. It's actually that simple. You don't know how to play the game, hence you're struggling, right? It's not because there's a poor job market. It's not because there's no jobs, because there are tons of jobs. Because I haven't heard anybody that isn't applying to hundreds and hundreds of jobs. Every single person, and you will hear from everybody today when I ask how many jobs they apply to, everyone will say more than 100 jobs. So if there is more than 100 jobs you apply to, how is the job market bad, right? So the job market isn't bad. You just don't know how to play the game. You don't know how to play in today's job market. And it's why tons of people are struggling in the job search. Also, what I'm noticing is a lot of people don't know how to sell themselves. Those that know how to sell themselves, know how to demonstrate the results they can get for companies, are winning the game. They're landing interviews. Those that are still writing resumes like a job description, sadly, they're struggling to land interviews. When I ask a simple question like, what's the value you bring to the table? Everybody just starts listing their skills, a whole laundry list of the things they're good at. But the question is the value you bring to the table. So let's flip it. What is the value you're going to add to the hiring manager? How would the hiring manager benefit from hiring you? What would be the ROI they're going to make from you? The thing is that this is what nobody knows how to answer, simply just because we've been taught that we need to speak on our experience. We need to have our elevator pitches, which, by the way, elevator pitches don't work in today's world because people's attention spans are less than 3 seconds. We are so busy with their devices. Everybody has this in their hands. If you get in the elevator in today's day and age, people are on their phones, and they're just scrolling, right? They're on their phones, they're scrolling, they're checking their emails, they're on social media. So the world we live in today isn't the world we lived in pre-smartphones, pre-social media, right? This is now, we live in a world where we have social media, we have YouTube. People's attention span is really, really short. So to win the game, you have to be able to grab someone's attention long enough to want to speak to you, to call you for an interview. So I hope that helps. Sasiyakal, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Okay, those that are joining me in the studio, you gotta have your resume shared, ready to go. I will only call your name if I see your resume being shared on the screen. If you hopped on because of the email list, then I did send the instructions. Let me type the instructions one more time here. Here's the document. If you don't know how to share the screen. Okay, so I see tons of people in the studio, but I don't see anybody sharing their screen. Plus, you have to be able to speak with me directly. Otherwise, I can't. I won't be able to review your resume without being able to speak with you. So, is it Tariq? Tariq?
Yeah, it's Tariq.
Tariq. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. What about yourself?
I'm great, thank you. Before I bring your resume up, tell me about yourself, your job search, where you're struggling, what's going on.
Oh, I have around 2 decades of experience in international development. I'm a social development researcher, but worked with organizations like World Bank, Plan International, Oxfam for over 1.5 decades. I moved to US 3 years back,
Okay.
and since then, I've been hard time finding the kind of work which I really want to do.
Okay, so how long have you been struggling?
I think it's been over 2 years now, because you see, like,
2 years.
yeah, and probably I've applied to, I think, many positions. Either my resume is, or rather, either it is ignored, or I come to say, like, probably uh, I don't network much, and I think reference is the key when it comes to uh, looking for a job in good organizations.
Okay. I would say reference isn't the key, but recommendations is the key.
Mhm.
And a way to overcome that is in today's world that we live in, we have the tools to overcome this very easily, and that is LinkedIn, right? So I don't know how you're using LinkedIn and how your LinkedIn profile is set up. The
Yep.
key the key here is to, and this is why I believe in the power of building your name as a brand, right? So
Mhm.
personal branding is one of the key skills needed in order to win in today's job market, but
Mhm.
also to further grow your career so that you're never out of a job. You can be switching countries at any time in your life and never be in a cycle of, oh, I can't land a job, right? So I don't know how you've set up your LinkedIn profile, how active you are on LinkedIn. And when I say being active, I don't actually mean like sending out connection requests and then hitting people up with, I call this pitch slap. You connect with somebody and then right away you're asking for a referral for a job and you're sending your resume. You haven't even wine and dine them. So I would say it also comes down to the what you're doing with your LinkedIn. The other thing with the not having recommendations in a country trying to get a job is what you want to do is get out there. Like you can't sit. And the other thing I found a lot of people are doing is tending to use the easy way out is just sit on the computer and just hit apply, 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 apply. That's not going to get you anywhere in this competitive job market. What you want to do is create a demand for you, and you want to get out there. So you have to be able to, go to the sorry, baby's crying. Give me 1 second. Okay, gone. Be able to, for example, I teach a strategy in one of my coaching programs. I call it, I've talked about this a lot of times in a lot of my LinkedIn lives. I call it the William Wendy strategy. So it's a famous celebrity who became famous for radio hosting, and then she eventually landed her own TV gig. One of the things she used to do in her entire career was, once you had a job, she's already planning, like from day one, like today's her day one in a new job, she's already planning her next role. And one of the strategies that helped her land her famous radio gig was she used to go every single day before her shift to the studio radio station that she wanted to work at. She will go to the office, ask for the head of the office to speak to. They're like, oh, he's busy. She was like, no problem. She'll sit in the lobby. 14 days went by and she was still doing this, sitting in the lobby waiting to speak to the boss. One day what happened was one of the hosts of a radio show called in sick, couldn't come in. And what now everybody's panicking because they're supposed to go live in 5 minutes, but the host isn't here, sick. So the boss remembered that, hey, Wendy William is sitting in the lobby, and she's been sitting in the lobby every single day. So he ran to the lobby and he goes, listen, I need you. The host called in sick. We need you to start, right? So she's like, sure. When? I can start. When? He's like, right now. And she runs in the studio, boom, gets in. She gets the gig, meaning, and she did a wonderful job. She became a regular. Eventually, she landed her own segment of her own radio show with the company. She was a go-getter. And I found that a lot of people are not being go-getters. We tend to do the things that we're naturally comfortable doing. And this job market that we're in, you got to get out of your comfortable zone and get out there. So go to, like, if you know the exact company you want to work in, hey, make that bold move and go into that office every single day. Sit in the lobby. No one's going to kick you out of the lobby, right? If someone does, go sit in the front desk or outside of the office. You'll meet somebody. Stand in the elevator all day long. You meet people, right? So you're going to have to be able to do that. And I call this the Wendy Williams strategy because it can land you interviews faster than sitting and apply.
Oh, okay. But I think probably it'll be good strategy for a newbie, like a guy who is entering the job market, but not
Aren't you
probably.
a newbie? Well, it's a good, see, I'm going to track back. See how you quickly dismissed the strategy? See how you quickly dismissed it and just basically came up the reason why it's not going to work for you. Oh, it's probably good for a newbie.
No, you see, basically, like
Why?
obviously,
Okay, let's have a dialogue. Why is it,
no,
why
no,
is
I'm
it
not
good for
dismissing it,
you?
but you see, like a person's own integrity, like self-esteem. I think that is probably more precious for me than winning livelihood.
You're sorry? How
Like,
would this
like
diminish your
obviously, because it's just
how?
like going somewhere, sitting in somebody's office, people you don't know, and you just wait there for an opportunity which you never know that probably that when it will be going to arise.
80% of hiring happens before a job's even posted.
Yep, yep. I have
Okay.
some idea.
Okay, so you know that 80% of hiring happens before a job's even posted.
Yep, yep.
Okay. So now you don't want to go sit in an office, wait to talk
No,
to the
basically,
office.
the re- the the reason Gurpreet is basically I myself have come a long way in my
Yeah,
career.
actually, I'm gonna cut the conversation. I'm going to review your resume. In the end of the day, my job is to give strategies, take it or leave
Sure.
it. That's up to
Sure.
you, right?
Okay.
If you want to have success, this is number one reason why a lot of people fail. No matter who you listen to, no matter what coach you hire, people don't want to do the hard work. People want an easy. So I gave you a strategy, and right away you came up with a why it's not going to work. Oh, it's going to make me look like now your fear is cooking in, insecurities are kicking in. Oh, it's going to paint me in a whole different light. Basically, you're saying that it's going to discredit you and it's going to show that you're desperate. You're coming at all the reasons. And this is the exact reason why people are struggling in today's job market, simply because nobody wants to do the something that's going to be innovative and creative. And everybody wants to just sit behind a computer and say, apply. Getting out there requires courage. Putting yourself out there requires courage. And when you do that, companies see that. That speaks more volume to someone just sitting there and submitting resumes, especially depending on the role you're going for. That shows determination. That shows someone who's taking action. Who wouldn't want to hire that person? Yeah, again, it depends on the conversations you have will determine the next steps. But when someone's seeing somebody out there and putting themselves out there, the right people appreciate that.
Okay.
And the wrong people won't appreciate it. In the end of the day, like I gave you a strategy, one strategy. There's tons of strategies out there to implement, but I do believe putting yourself out there is one of the best ways to land interviews right now. Everybody is sitting behind the computer and doing the same thing. Everybody's
Yeah, I
sitting
agree
on
with you.
everyone is doing the same thing. But if you do what I tell you to do, you stand out of the crowd now. What's everyone doing? Sitting behind a computer, click apply. Sitting on LinkedIn, sending out connections, then submitting their resume as an introduction message, right? Everyone's doing that. So how are you standing out of the crowd? But when you do something different, you stand out of the crowd. I had an interview that brought me cupcakes. I still remember 5-6 years later that this candidate brought me cupcakes. Yeah, I didn't hire her for the role. She wasn't right fit, but I recommended her to people in my network. Someone who goes the extra mile and makes a personal touch, people always remember. So in the end of the day, getting in front of people is about networking and building relationships more than just getting a job, because those relationships will take you far than that one time, hey, I want a job.
Okay.
And as somebody who's new to the country, you just said you don't have references, you don't have referrals, right? So how wouldn't it work out in your favor to put yourself out there? Now, if you don't want to sit in the office, go and there's tons of ways that other things you can do. You can go to conferences that are
Yes, definitely.
tons of conferences are happening right now that you can go hit up. Yes, that requires money, but hey, if you don't have money, you can volunteer. There are tons of conferences that are looking for volunteers. You can make a list of all the conferences that you want to attend, and then you can be a volunteer as well. Now, strategic plan with the conferences, make sure that one, you get something out of it as an individual. And number two, it is industry related to you where you be able to connect with other people. Third, it doesn't have to be industry related. It can also be a personal growth conference where you'll be personally growing and volunteer and you'll be able to meet. The key is to get out and meet people. Meeting people isn't about elevator pitches. Sure. And I think this is where everyone's being taught wrong is, have an elevator pitch. You don't need elevator pitches to make a friend. You don't need scripts to befriend somebody. You just have to speak from the heart and you'll be able to build relationships with people. Every time I've been in a conference, if I love the speaker, if the speaker's speech, their talk moved me, I didn't once hesitate to go up and tell them exactly how their talk impacted me. You don't need an elevator pitch to do that, right? You speak from your heart. So this, I just find that people are relying too much on scripts and templates versus just speaking from the heart and be old school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at your resume. Are you able to zoom in?
I'll
Right
try.
off the bat, I can tell you when I see that skills and education as two columns,
Mhm.
that's not ATS friendly.
Okay.
So some ATS even today can't read columns or tables. I do suggest not having any columns or tables.
Mhm.
And then I can't read your professional summary, to be honest, because it's not zoomed in. But just looking at um, how long it is right off the bat, to me that is very, very text heavy.
Mhm.
You got 5 seconds to grab someone's attention.
Oh.
And also, when I take a look in the top of your resume where your name is, you have that grayish. Look how much space you've just wasted.
Mhm.
You can have it horizontal, everything.
Okay.
Not sure why you have a GitHub link. Are you a website developer?
No, I'm a data scientist.
Not sure why
Generative.
people are doing that.
Sorry.
You're the second person that's data analyst that has a portfolio. I'm not too sure how handy that's going to be. And honestly, I don't even think anyone's going to review your GitHub. Um, I don't, I wouldn't review it because it's not relevant. Especially how many years experience? You have 15 years of experience. Like that's why I asked, are you a website developer? If you are a designer, yes. And if you're not a designer, not sure how beneficial it would be. Also, when it comes to data, is it my concern with that is data is there's a privacy issue now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Aren't you sharing information that's data to the companies you worked for?
Which information I'm sharing? No,
I don't
these
know.
are
I don't know. I'm just saying the
no,
GitHub
no.
created.
GitHub basically GitHub hosts the projects which I have implemented during my professional career.
Okay, I don't know how. I'll be honest. I don't know how many people are going to review that. The importance piece is to have those projects in your resume.
Mm-hmm.
That will, which is going to help you land a job. Versus someone has to click on the link and now take an extra step. What you want to do is make the reader's life easy and not make them have to want to do um, a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone's saying that your three L's in education spelling is incorrect. How is someone else able to see this and I can't? Okay, now I went in full screen. Yeah, education is spelled wrong. Make sure you get someone else to review your resume as well as look for
Oh,
spelling.
no.
Uh,
Basically, I basically hired a designer basically to put this all things together.
the
But
designer is not a
yep,
editor, right?
yep,
They didn't
I'll put
design the
together.
resume.
Yep,
I don't know. Okay, so I'm iffy about the GitHub thing. I don't know. And everybody else can give feedback in the comment section. Feel free to give feedback. More eyes looking at the resumes, the better someone can better, more people looking at resume and providing feedback, better it's going to be. Also, your resume is super long. It's like 6 pages, so let's not make it 6 pages. Your profile summary is super long, and hence people probably turned off. You gotta have a hook that captures a reader's attention. Also, what role are you looking for? What's your expertise? Because all it says is 15 years. I'm a globally oriented system. What does I'm a globally oriented system focused future thinking and versatile social scientist with 15 years? What does that even mean?
okay.
No, I'm asking you.
No,
Does it mean?
I mean, just trying. Basically, I have worked around the world in Southeast Asia, like in Asia, Oceania region, Middle East, Africa.
But what does globally oriented system focused future thinking and versatile social scientist with 15 years even mean? What's social scientist? I
Social
thought you were
science.
data scientist.
No, social scientists mean people who research on social science subjects.
So what's your expert? See how confusing this is? I don't even know what you're an
Mhm.
expert in.
Okay. No, you really highlighted the right points. I need to work on them.
Like, I don't even know, like social
Mhm.
scientists. So basically, a lot of times we're writing resumes from our viewpoint and the language we want to communicate versus just writing simple language
Mhm.
that is the recruiter's language and the hiring
Mhm.
manager's language. Make your life easy. Don't come up with your own fancy words. Just use the language the recruiter's already using on their job posting.
Mhm.
Especially if you're applying to jobs online, use the exact word language that's already written on the job description to know how to write, like what wording you need to use. If the company's not calling it social scientist, they're not gonna even remotely know what social scientist means.
Mhm.
If they're calling it research scientist, use the word research scientist.
Mhm. Mhm.
You have to make it relevant. Plus, you have 15 years experience, but I don't of mission guided, result driven, service cross. Okay, that whole first sentence, I'm gonna be honest. I
Mhm.
give brutal, honest feedback. I don't sugarcoat anything. Your
Mhm.
entire first sentence is just bunch of fluff. No
Mhm.
substance, no like don't even know what the message is, totally lost. It just glorified bunch of stuff that you
Mhm.
want to say that makes you look good, right? So instead of trying to make yourself look good, let's really act from a space of I'm an expert. Claim what you're an expert in. You have 15 years of experience. Look, all the education I see. There's a whole laundry list of education you got it. So, what are you an expert in?
I'm expert in,
Yeah.
yeah, expert in doing like developing research methodologies, like doing evaluation, monitoring evaluation expert.
That's the things you're saying you're good at doing, but what's your expertise? Like when you go to brain surgeon, we know they're an expert in brain, right?
I'm basically expert in evaluation,
Evaluation of what?
evaluation of social or of on of international development projects, like social development projects,
What type
project,
of social development projects?
like projects which are developed to for poverty alleviation, education, health, wash.
Okay, but those are now different types of projects. Health would be different, education would be different.
Yep, yep.
What are you an expert in?
Oh, babe, I'm basically expert in evaluating them. It doesn't matter which thematic area is. Evaluation is in itself is a big subject.
Yes, hence I'm saying what are you an expert in? You're telling me a subject, but I'm asking what you're an expert in. Right now, you're not going to be able to answer this question. The reason I want to ask you this, because just to show proof to people, the reason many people are struggling in today's job search is you don't know what you're actually an expert in. Everybody's just writing bunch of titles or job titles, or as you said, this is a big subject. Yeah, it's a big subject, but what are you an expert in?
I'm expert
I'm
in
asking
evaluation.
what you're an expert in. So you're giving me a generic, I'm calling it a generic term. You're
Hmm.
an expert in something in valuation, but not just in valuation. That's just a term that's used, but what are you an expert in? For example, there's a surgeons, right? When we say surgeons, we just think of people who can do surgeries. But now when we start to predefine them, we know what a brain surgeon does, what their expertise is, and they're only going to be called, like, would you want a brain surgeon to operate on you if you have a brain injury, or would you
Hmm.
pick a general surgeon?
Okay, I got you. But you see, like few expertise are cross-cutting. They basically cross-cut through various areas. Like you can say that a person who is a researcher
A
in.
brain surgeon is an A brain surgeon is expert and knows the entire function of the entire body.
Mhm,
But the
mhm,
key, what they're really like, their zone of genius is brain, and that's all
mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, got you.
how the entire body works, right? So, in order to be experts, we do need to know how everything works. But
Mhm.
our main focus is just that in that area. I know your valuation is, as you said, is a broad subject, but what in valuation are you an expert in?
In what in evaluation? Basically, I'm you, I'm just trying to explain. Evaluation is in
I'm
itself
gonna
an
do you.
experience.
You're not gonna be able to answer this question. I can guarantee you that much. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna make your life easy. Take this training. It's 4-part training, which is free.
Mm,
I go over how to identify what you're actually an expert in, and then how to package and position yourself as the expert in that, and then
okay.
how to put a dollar value on your expertise so that you're not underpricing yourself just to get a job, and
Mm,
also not just going after the wrong companies. You need to know exactly which companies you need to target when you know your dollar valuation. You're
mhm,
good in valuation, but you also need to be good at valuation, putting a valuation on you, and then put a dollar value on you. There's a
mhm,
4-part training that I just put. By the way, this whole resume is the reason why you're not landing interviews. It's really confusing. Just a couple of sentences I even read, I don't even know what you're trying to say. I can imagine once we get to the experience section, how you're communicating. The success of a resume, 100% is based on the communication.
mhm,
Clear, precise communication is what's needed. And every time I review people's resumes, everybody's using a lot of fancy fluff words to hype up what they're trying to say, but the message isn't even there. The messaging is lost. It's confusing. If the reader doesn't know what you're trying to say, there's no point in glorifying things.
mm,
The point is just get to the message. What is the message you want to communicate, right? That whole profile summary is just fluff. There's no
mm,
substance. It's just glorified. And then also, you're just talking about yourself. I teach people a different method when it comes to resume writing. Your profile summary needs to be deleted and instead replace it with the value. How are you gonna add value to the employer, to the hiring manager? What results can you get from them? How much cost cutting can you do? How much money you can save? How much money can you make them? It's got to speak on money. I think a lot of people don't understand this. Companies are investing in hiring because they want to become even more profitable. They want to make profits. Each organization, the business KPI is to make profits. Everybody gets hired to hit the bottom line of the business. We're
mhm,
hired to meet KPIs, right? But in the end, we also have to understand that the business are in the business to make money. How do I help in that process? How do I hit the company's KPIs? How would the company benefit from hiring me? If you can't easily communicate that, other than I have this skill and I have this much years experience, you're not gonna get that job opportunity.
mm.
So it's not
Okay.
about skills, it's not about experience. Everybody has that. Everybody's bringing skills to the table. Everyone's bringing education to your credentials to the table, especially when you're at 15 years, right? The people you're competing with also have the same skills as you and pretty much similar credentials as you, right? When we're in the early years of our experience, we all have undergrad, right? We're competing in
Mm,
the market. Same thing as we start to grow. The skills become less important because everybody's bringing that to the table. Education, everyone's bringing at your caliber, everyone's bringing that. But what is it that uniqueness that you're bringing that other people are not bringing? Again, that comes down to your ability to solve problems. Well, what types of problems you can solve, how complex problems can you solve, and how much money you can make the company. That
mhm.
ability is different from everybody to everybody.
Okay. All right.
A lot of work is needed on your resume, and definitely need to cut this down.
No, yep, I'll do that.
Shouldn't be
The
6 pages.
okay.
When someone's making their resumes long, like you don't need to write the 2005. You can have
Mm,
that as you don't need to talk about that role. It should be on your resume to show the 15 years timeline, 15-year experience, but you don't need to write anything underneath it because that's out like it's 2005 and 2011. It's not even relevant anymore.
mhm. Okay.
You don't have to expand on everything. Your resume needs to look like similar to this since you are with 15 years experience. It needs to look like this.
Mhm,
Okay, so for privacy purposes, I've removed my client's information, just put my name and made up some number. you right behind your last name, put your credentials. So right off the bat, the letters of your credentials right off the bat, people will know what credential level you are. This is where you claim what you're an expert in or the role you want next. This is a hook statement is put in there. So the way I write resumes and teach how to write resumes, there's psychology. I use psychology-based techniques and incorporations of how to write resume. This entire resume, one is ATS friendly plus, is written to capture readers' attention. I've incorporated copywriting as well as psychology on how people scan resumes in today's day and age and how people, what information people look for. And also there's 5 types of recruiters and / hiring managers that we need to be able to capture all 5 types of recruiters' attention to land into it. So there's a lot of science behind the way this resume is written. I just want to highlight that. This is to grab attention within less than 3 seconds. So we want to have that powerful scroll stopper statement. And this is a value add, the value this person's bringing to the table, how this person's going to add value to the organization. Plus is clearly claiming his expertise and how much in what industry and spaces, plus how much money he can make, right? So that's already highlighted here, and it's highlighted here again and here again. Also, because it's a a senior VP, we also want to talk about building teams that generate and make company money, right? Skills table, and this is ATS friendly, so you can have columns or tables, just put into simple text format, just so that all types of ATS can read it, because you're not going to know which ATS can read tables and formats and which can't read it, right? When it comes to career section, I like to highlight accomplishments. This is your success stories. You want to talk about the success in each of the roles you've accomplished. You have a clear timeline. And this is kind of like how you want to use the space is you have left side, you have the name of the company and location. And on the right side, you have the timeline of when you started, the month you started, the year you started to the end, or if it's still in that role. Did add a hook statement again in this position to capture the reader's attention right away. They know that this person accomplished $200 million in revenue working in this organization. Easy summary of what your responsibilities are in the role. And then we go into bullets. Bullets are, we want to write bullets in a way that tells a story, but also we want to tie down to results and how the company benefited from each of the situations or each implementations you've done, problems you've solved, solutions you've developed. I'm not too keen on how many bullets there should be. You can have 6, you can have 8. Again, what matters is the relevance of the information. But matrix needs to be there. Numbers have to be added. If you got to talk about dollar signs as well as percentages. And then same thing, we've done the same thing for this role. We added the power scrolling statement to capture the reader's attention, quickly summarize what we're doing in the role, and then go into speaking on the results. Again, you can see there's matrix, there's numbers to tell the story as we're communicating. Each sentence starts with the power word. And then the other roles, we didn't really talk much other than just list it. So the timeline is there to add up to that it's 15 plus years. Mm-hmm. And then the education's at the bottom. That's how a 6-figure resume needs to look like. When I say 6 figures, I mean 100K, 200K, 300, 500. This person was aiming for 300K plus roles. So everyone's resume should look like this. I don't care if you are not aiming for 100K. You always want to put your best foot forward. And the presentation, how you present yourself on a piece of document like a resume, really showcases who you are and the presence you'll be bringing, right? So if you want something on a higher scale of salaries and a higher paying roles, you got to look the part. And I think a lot of times people are missing that piece as well. So hope this helps.
Okay. Yep, sure. Thank you very much. It's great. Eye-opener for me.
No problem. Any other questions before I jump to the next person?
Oh, I think that'd be all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, who wants to go next? Just have your resume ready to share. I'd be able to call on you next. Those are joining from live. You have to have if you want to get your resume reviewed by me, just simply hop on to this. You have to be in the studio with me. So there's the link to hop on StreamYard with me, and I will be able to review your resume with you. Okay, let's go through some of the questions while I'm waiting for people to load their resume. If a job is posted by some company, let's say ABC, and you have people in your LinkedIn connection working for that company, but you don't know them, how should you approach them? Some people advise me to ask them for a referral, but since I don't know them, I don't know what the right approach here would be. Okay, this is a great question. If you have people in your connections, and they work for the company that you are applying to, what's the correct word? I would approach it in a way to fact finding. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to do this. Now, I hope Rajiv, you're still here. I would suggest one, if the person is writing content on LinkedIn, so if they're posting anything on LinkedIn, you want to engage with their post. So write comments on their post, thought out comment, not a great post, nothing like that, like nothing generic, but really put effort in writing that comment so the post author knows that you actually took the time to read their post and you generally put some effort in writing your comment. So if they're active on LinkedIn, that would be the best bet. And then you can connect with them on a personal level based on any post they've written. Now, if some next thing to do is, so that's one strategy. Number two thing you can do is you can study the LinkedIn profiles. And if there's not much, sometimes people don't write much on their LinkedIn profiles. The next step would be to Google search them and see what can come up. See if they're on like Facebook or other social media platforms where they might be highly active. Then you want to study that social media to see where you can draw, where's the similarities, where's the connection, so you can talk on that. And then again, if they're active on a different social media platform, you'll be able to write comments on their post if it's public. And that's another way to start spark a conversation. A lot of people are active on multiple social medias. They're not always active on one. And the other thing you can do is, depending on the level of the person in the role, so if they are, let's say they're working in the same department as you, as the one you want to apply to, I would invite them. There's a couple of things you can do. You can actually do homework and research on the organization. What's their current problems they're dealing with? How is their competition doing? And do a SWOT analysis between them and the competition. And you can then approach it in a way that, hey, listen, I was doing some research on the organization and found that you're dealing with, like, highlight the main big two problems they're dealing with. That can be an opening starter. So you don't want to ask for a job. What you want to do is you want to show them that you know their problems better than they know it, and start a conversation, spark a conversation through a shared pain point, right? So to grab someone's attention, the best way is to hit them on the pain. So that'll be another strategy I would suggest. And the other thing you can do is, right off the bat, you can ask for a favor and say, in return, I will send you $50 gift card to Amazon or their choice. And if you can refer me to a position, like, there's no harm in, like, hey, if you do this for me, I'm happy to exchange, give you equal value of like a $50 gift card or something, right? Or take them out for lunch or dinner if that's the case. But when it comes to referrals, I believe in recommendations have more weight than just someone's referring somebody. The person should be able to communicate your value, how you're a good fit for the role, how you will help the company, right? And how your work results are going to be. When you're reaching into a complete stranger, they can't talk on that. So I hope that helps. His skills has 3. Okay, we went over that. I suggest use ChatGPT to refurbish, shorten your summary to 4 to 5 lines and experience 5. ChatGPT only works if you know what prompt to prompt it and how to prompt it. In my resume writing course, I actually share ChatGPT prompts with my scripts that will help you actually create bullet points using a formula that I use. But I would not just throw it in ChatGPT. And a lot of times people are using ChatGPT incorrectly because they don't know how to do prompts. Should we amend our resume of every job application? Yes, your resume should be personalized to that one job you're applying to. Yes. If you are still interested in getting your resume review again, you gotta hop on the live call. I've dropped the link. Okay. Takdir.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I shared my resume. Actually, I want you to see and check it if my resume is suitable. Actually, I have some questions regarding my recent jobs research.
So let's start with, are
Um,
you currently looking for a job?
Actually, I have the job. I recently joined the company 3 months back,
Okay. So
and yeah, so the thing is that the company, the job that I joined, I wanted to change my, the career actually. I mean, I want to get into the office job rather than being on the site job. Like my background is related to the civil engineering, and I have been, dealing with all the site management work, and I'm looking to get to some kind of office work, or like some kind of office related jobs.
okay, may I kindly ask, why did you take this job? Didn't you know if you wanted an office job?
uh, yeah, so basically I was in Alberta before. I wanted to move to Ontario, so somehow I need one job to to stay in Ontario. So that's why I just chose the job that I was getting easily. But
Okay.
now I feel that because of the weather conditions in Canada, I feel that the site jobs are not suitable much for me. So that's why I'm looking for the office job.
No, your current employer can't move you into an office job?
Asked anyone yet because I've not still finished my probation period in my new
How long
company.
is how
They are
long is the, how long is your
sorry.
probation period? How long is the probation
Oh, three
period?
months.
3 months? Haven't you already been
Yes.
working there for 3 months?
Yes, it's been 3 months.
So then didn't you just complete the probation period? If your probation period is 3 months, you've been working there 3 months, isn't probation period?
Yes, I mean that I joined on in November, 1st of November, so 3 days are left to be my probation period to be
Okay, but
completed.
there's no harm in having a conversation even before your probation period is completed. If you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Okay, but yeah, like I have some like, because I am the only one in the company who can do their work. There is no one under my position or above my position who can deal with the work that I am doing in the company.
Okay, that's amazing. So that
So
means you have great relationship with the organization. My question is, why can't you ask for a job in the office?
I feel that because I am the only one who can do the job that they want me to do, and that is the reason that if I ask any of them to give me any office job, I don't think so they will lend me any office job. Rather, they will ask me to leave
Why
because they
you're
have enough
okay,
persons.
so let's just stop, pause there for a second. You're already making assumptions before even asking. You're already anticipating they're gonna say no. So even when you do ask, they're going to say no. Why you do
Yes.
like, the minute we start to tell a story, that's exactly what's gonna play out, right? You're already You want something, you're so scared to go after it. You're so scared to even ask the current company because you are in your mind, you've already made up your mind that they're gonna say no. So even if now, if you do go ask them, they're gonna say no. But if you can tell a different story and say, hey, they love me so much that they want to keep me. I'm valuable to them. That when I do ask them for the office position, they're gonna say yes.
Yeah,
This
like,
is how
yeah,
you
of
win.
course, I'm,
Hold on one second. This is how
yeah.
you win. You don't win by having credentials and after credentials. And see, even the way you're talking, like you're not confident in yourself. You don't believe that what you want can exist. You're coming up with excuses of why something can't happen. You're working for a company. You said no one can do the job you have. There's no other person in the company that can do it. Doesn't that already make you valuable now?
Yes, of course, but yeah, maybe I'm overthinking, but on the other side, I see
You are
myself that
overthinking, but
if I,
you are talking yourself out of something simply just because you've telling a story that they won't put you in the office because they need you in this role. But you don't want to be in this role.
yeah,
So,
yes.
isn't it better to where you're in a role with the company values you, there's nobody else can do your job right now that's already valuable to the organization, right? Like I don't know
Yeah,
your working relationship with the company. If you have good working relationship with the organization, you should you should be able to have those hard conversations instead of running away in a different direction. Because in the end of the day, you do need this company to give you recommendations and be your reference for the next job.
yeah, like, I would love to work for them in the office, but yeah, like,
All I
I
keep
want
hearing
to
is
know how should I approach
but.
them.
Okay, so don't say but. In the end of the day, if you want
Okay.
something, there's always a solution to a problem, right? I am a firm believer. I just find everybody just finds excuses of why they can't do something. Even the previous caller was doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. Like you have a job. You've been working in this organization for 3 months. You know, you gotta you're gonna have the difficult. It's really easy to not have a conversation, just go look for a new job, right? But it's difficult to have a hard conversation, sit down with your boss and say, listen, I love working here. I've been here 3 months. I'm Do you like my work? Get them to talk about your work, and they're probably like, yeah, yes. If they love you, you'll know. So start a conversation with, hey, it's been 3 months, how are you liking my work, and get them to start talking about you. You'll know if they love you. Then the next part is, okay, listen, you love me, I love you guys, I want to stay here, but here's what I need. I don't want to work in outside. I didn't know the working conditions outside because I come from whatever country you come from. The weather in my country isn't like Canada. And you can be laughing about it because yeah, it's cold outside, right? And if your body can't handle the cold, why should you be working in the condition, right? So it's a nice way to have a pleasant conversation. And the company, if they really love you, they will figure it out. And if they can't, if there's no way to keep you, then you have to look for another job. Right now, the company either will create a job for you or get you in an office if they can. Now you kind of have that open dialogue with them, and maybe they can refer you to other companies in their network. There's no hard,
Okay.
there's no harm in having a difficult conversation, especially when you didn't know how cold it was going to be. Right? That's a fair. It's the truth, no?
Yes.
It's the truth, right? Like this is true, right? Like you didn't know how cold it was going to be, right?
Oh, of course, yes, because yeah, like, I was looking for the
Also,
job something.
on the job posting or in the interviews, did they communicate that you'll be working extreme cold conditions? Something to also
No,
do, right?
it was not mentioned.
So then you can use that as well. Like this wasn't mentioned in the interviews or in the job posting that I'll be working in extreme cold weather or outdoors. Like you have to look at the job description, job posting. Does it talk about you working outside in the field, outdoors, cold weather? Like typically a company has to disclose all this information up front.
Yes. But they didn't mention that during the interview process. Yeah,
Was it mentioned
like
in the
I
job?
can talk. No, nothing was mentioned regarding the
Okay.
weather
So
thing
then
in the job posting.
okay, perfect. Then you can bring that up as well, right? You can first start the dialogue of, okay, it's been 3 months. How is my work? Do you like it? Get that dialogue, that conversation started that way. And then you say, okay, you know what? If they love you, then you can say, I also love being here and I want to stay with this organization. But here's the thing when I was hired, on the job posting and didn't say anything about working outside. During the interviews, this wasn't mentioned. But now that I'm working, you have to come up, like you have to know how many times out of the 8 hours of your shift, how much are you working outside?
I'm
You
working
have to
like
go. I mean, you
3 to
gotta
4
go,
days.
but you gotta have this.
Yeah, yeah.
This is data that you have to collect and present in this conversation. That when I was hired, this wasn't listed on the job posting that 3 to 4 hours per day I would be working outdoors, and it's -40 right now, whatever, minus how cold it is. I wasn't made aware of this when I took this job, or nor was I made aware of it when during the interview process. Now that I'm doing this role and I'm spending half of my time outdoors every day, like, are you outdoors? Are you actually outdoor working 3, 4 hours outdoor? Or you're just like sitting in a car and going to a site and getting out of the car? Like, what's outdoors?
Yeah, outdoor means getting out of the car and being on the site, surveying the site.
The site outdoors?
Yes, yes.
Or is that indoors?
The site outdoors.
Like there's no heaters, nothing like that on site? The
No,
site's
no, no. I am not inside any
okay.
trailer, site trailers,
So
or any site offices. Yeah.
okay, so that's what you want to communicate, right? Again, the dialogue opening is sit down to have a conversation about your 3 months probation, how they like your work, the boss, how is he or she liking your work. If they like your work, they're in love with you and they want to continue work, have you on their in this role, that's when you bring it up. If they say they don't like your work, then you have nothing to talk about and you start looking for a new job. But I think it's important to have these honest conversations. These honest conversations will take you far in your career versus just not having them. I'm not sure why. I mean, you got to get comfortable having these difficult conversations. They might sound difficult, honestly speaking. When you actually do have a conversation, they're actually easy to have. They're not that difficult. We just make everything difficult in our heads. Plus, you
Yeah,
building
like
a great relationship with people when you start being honest.
okay. The thing what happened with me on the first day was that the person who was working on my position where I'm working now in the company, he was like, fired like without letting him know. He was just fired on the same day when I was hired.
But that has nothing to do with
So
you.
I
That has nothing to do with you. Let's not talk about something that has nothing to do with you. You don't know why he or she was fired. You don't know anything.
okay.
All I'm
Yeah.
going to say is look how you're looking for reasons not to have this conversation. You're talking yourself out of something, so you're just looking for reasons. The person fired, no
Yeah.
one just gets fired for no reason. There's always a reason. And it's confidential. Company cannot disclose why they fired somebody. It's actually confidential. I work in HR, I can tell you that. And if someone and the company doesn't owe you an explanation, right? Why somebody
Yes.
fired.
Yeah.
So don't read into a situation too much, especially when you don't have the complete story. And also, it doesn't, honestly
Okay.
speaking, concern you, right? You should focus on you. You're no get into other people's situations is none of your business. Focus on you. What is it
Okay.
that you want? If you love working in this company, then have that conversation. What do you have to lose? What's the worst? They're gonna say no, but at least that person would appreciate you
Um,
having an honest conversation with them.
yeah. So one more question, like
Mhm.
should I approach to my manager or should I approach to some other
No, your
senior
man.
position, like
No,
someone?
no. The person you report into, your manager, is the person you're supposed to have this conversation with. Nobody else.
Okay.
Okay. I do have to
Okay.
go. I
Yeah.
just realized it's 7 o'clock. My
Sure.
dog needs. I need to take my dogs for a walk. But I would go and have a conversation with your boss. Only your boss. Nobody else. The person that's in charge. The person who hired you. The person you report into. The person who's gonna do the evaluation on you. Your boss is the person you need to sit down and have a conversation with before you
Okay.
even go look for a job. Looking for a job is a lot of work, but if you can get into the role that you want to get into in the office role, you can have that in the same company, but they're not going to know unless you have a conversation. Maybe they thought you already
Okay.
know that you would be half-time outside, right? Like they don't know. Also, when you tell them that this wasn't communicated, at least they won't make the same mistake with other candidates. They're supposed to be disclosing that you will be working outdoors. Half of 4 hours per day will be on site. In the winter times, you will be outside working in extreme cold weather because it is, cold weather for you, right?
Yeah.
So go and have
Okay.
that conversation. Your 3 months probation is done. Even if it's 3 days left, this is when you're supposed to have these conversations. You have nothing to lose
Okay.
and everything to gain. The next thing you know is they can be like, yes, you know what? We made a mistake and let's create a position for you, or let's give you more office work so you don't have to go. But, there's always a way to a solution to a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay?
I will follow that. Thank you so
Perfect.
much.
You're welcome. I
For
do
your
have
time.
to end this call. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I run these resume review sessions every Monday. I don't have a confirmed time, so if you're on my email list, you will get a notification. If you're following me on LinkedIn, you also get a notification when I'm live. If you haven't already, hit that follow button and the bell icon to get notified. Please go do that so you don't miss any of my live sessions. I already did a live session earlier today, where I went over the 5 types of recruiters and hiring managers need to impress to land interviews and job offers based on psychology. Go watch that segment. It was really useful as well. So until next time, thank you so much. Everybody enjoy your rest of your evening or night or morning, depending on where you are, and tune into my next segment. Okay? Have a good night.